Hello, I'm Amber Hammonds. I'm in the Child Family Consumer Sciences department, and the course that I'm planning on redesigning is our CFS38 course. It's lifespan development. We have multiple sections of this. One of the sections that I teach is one of our larger sections, and it has about 106 students in it. I also teach a section online. So what I'm hoping to do, what I've noticed, the first time I taught this course was the in-person course was last year in the fall, and I found that there were some problems with course attendance and engagement. And so I was hoping I could find some things to try to work with that. And I think one of the big things I want to change is using clickers. I have never used clickers before, but I think that it's going to really be useful in a large lecture as well as a small one. But I think for this class in particular, I keep attendance, and I think that clickers will really help with that. But I also think mainly that it'll keep students engaged, especially with topics that they might be struggling with, and it also give me a heads up about what I might be able to change in future classes or what I need to emphasize more. And I'm hoping to put the students into smaller groups, not smaller groups necessarily because I think that'll actually be a little bit chaotic, but what I mean is for them to be able to work together, just sitting next to each other very briefly, but to discuss why they responded the way that they did, and especially to discuss some of the incorrect answers and why those are not correct. So I definitely want to use clickers. I also really liked this idea of my writing lab. I wasn't familiar with it. I've heard a little bit about it, but I've never used it myself. And I think that this might be really useful for this course. We already use my development lab through Pearson. They have My Virtual Child, which is a really cool program in which you can raise a virtual child from birth to age 18. And so the students have to write a paper. They go through 2 drafts of this. And what I've noticed is that there have been a lot of writing errors in the papers that sometimes I'm not even able to really understand what students are communicating because of the writing errors. And I think that my writing lab might be able to help that, might be a really useful resource not only for my class, but for future classes they're in. So I'm going to hopefully preview that this summer and see if that's something I want to incorporate into this class in particular. I also found that there were a lot of things that came up that I think will be helpful for other classes as well. One is that I teach CFS193, and that's our cooperative education course, which is about 130 hours of internship hours. And so students are at all sorts of different sites, and I really like this idea of report out videos also of what sort of features are available on Google Drive. But what I would like students to do is be able to upload videos talking about their internships, what things they might be struggling with, what things are working really well, and then having some type of a discussion forum perhaps. And this of course is something I'm going to have to play around with in each of these because I'm not sure yet of what the capabilities are, but I think being able to discuss with other people in the class particular aspects of their sites might be really useful, beneficial for the students. I also would really like to check out Camtasia for my online class. I have recorded lectures on there. I can't remember what program it was that I used in the past. It was okay. It wasn't great. Had some problems, I think, especially with sort of coordinating the slides with my voice, but I think that Camtasia might be better. So this was a program that I used a couple years ago. So we're going to get a new edition of the book in the fall, and I think that probably next summer I'll spend some time re-recording those lectures, and I think I'll check out that program. I also think that SupportNet will be useful for my students in all of the classes, so I'm glad I got to learn about what that resource was. I guess I skipped how will my course be different from what I've currently done, and that's just that I'm going to be using clickers, really focusing more on student engagement. and also that I may be checking out my writing lab. So these are just a couple things that I'm thinking of now. I don't really have a solid plan, but I know that I definitely want to check out clickers. I think that that's going to be something that will keep students engaged. So what things have I learned during the academy? Kind of reviewed several of those, just going over things that I want to use for other classes. I've learned a ton so far in the academy, and I'm excited to see what's coming and also to hear more about different things that we can incorporate into the classroom. Concerns that I have about course redesign, my biggest concern is really about not trying to change too much at once, because something I'm right now trying to kind of play around with is how am I going to measure change from how I taught the class in the past and what I'm doing now. And I'm thinking that too many things will probably be a little bit problematic, but if I only focus on a couple things, then I'll know what worked for this course this semester, what things might I modify a bit, and then add things as I go along. But also, I think sort of changing a couple things in each of my classes will be useful. Okay, so I think I've covered all of the points, and thank you for your time.